Okay. All right. That's the key right there.
There you go.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Nirav Shah, and I have the honor and privilege to present one session on manufacturing efficiency with ERP systems. Teaming up here with Tri-State Manufacturing Association, which is great. We've been a member for a very long time, and we specifically have a lot of manufacturing experience and helping manufacturers really drive growth and results from the shop floor to the top floor using ERP systems. So today's topic is how modern ERP systems drive efficiency, compliance, and growth. Now, some of you may have already ERP systems, which is great. Hopefully out of this session, you could see how you could expand the use of your ERP software to do more on the operation side and get more value out of ERP. And others maybe don't have an ERP system and they'll start learning about what an ERP is and how an ERP system could help you drive that growth and efficiency that you're looking for on your manufacturing floor, and maybe you want to increase a specific KPI. What is an ERP system? An ERP system is what we call an enterprise resource planning system. More about that here in a little bit as we go through it. My name, can I do a quick introduction here? My name is Nirav Shah. I'm president of AdCirrus ERP. We're located in Schaumburg, Illinois, right outside of Chicago. I have over 22 years of ERP experience helping manufacturers from all different industries, discrete, process, project manufacturing, fabricators, anywhere in between, helping them get the most value out of their ERP system. Whether that's, connecting their order management to planning to purchasing and production, understanding shop floor, understanding how to do better plant maintenance, understanding how to properly, where you can do proper planning and rough cut capacity planning, hitting your customer due dates and shipping product out the door. Been doing this pretty much my whole career, helping manufacturers really gain the benefit of a connected ERP system that helps you do all that. Us specifically, we resell two solutions. One is called Microsoft Dynamics Business Central. The other one is called Acumatica ERP. Both are very strong candidates for manufacturers alike to kind of see them, understand them, and see how they would work in their organization. Our focus is simple. We help manufacturers replace manual processes with systems that support faster decision making and yield stronger profitability, right? Oftentimes, in my experience, I see if you use disparate systems, you're using Excel spreadsheets for inventory, you're using QuickBooks for finance, you're using Google Sheets to manage your routings, your travelers on the manufacturing floor, right? All that information, as much as it has the right level of detail, it's not real time. So we help companies get that real-time information. So if you're doing a material consumption on your production floor to a production order, well, that will automatically decrement your inventory, will then automatically also, record the financial effect of that, which is credit inventory, debit work in process on the production order, all in real time. So then that helps, let's say, for example, a buyer to understand that we've used this inventory and we need to do a replenishment because we've gone below a certain threshold on one of our bins that houses this inventory. So we need to now start planning this, right? And then that helps sales understand, well, how much of something can we make to properly provide a due date to your customers that's realistic and that will make sure that you are on time to your customer. So it's kind of what we try to do is bring all that together with an ERP system. Outside of just ERP and implementations, I also do a podcast, which is really informational only. and I hope anyone in the audience will be able to kind of look at it. You'll find me on YouTube. It's called the ABCs of ERP and Beyond. We do this for a living, implementing ERP software. A lot of you in the audience are probably maybe going through it currently or thinking about going through it, and have a ton of questions, right, about what you should expect. What are the barriers? When are you ready to do an ERP system? We talk about all that in our podcast, which is obviously free to use. We have about 70 plus videos out there. They're about 40 minutes each, roughly, give or take. But I tell anyone that is interested in ERP, just go look at a lot of our content that we have out there. It's educational, it's free, and it will give you a good idea of how ready you are, number one, and number two, what you should be looking at in a partner. And an ERP software as you embark on this journey to get a new ERP system. Because let's face it, a new ERP system, you're not going to replace your ERP every 2 years. You're going to replace it once every 20 years, every 30 years. That's the real impact that an ERP system has in your organization. So our strategy today, our expectations of our webinar is we're going to talk about how ERP is going to strengthen your financial management, help you with your regulatory compliance, operational efficiency. The goal here is not to sell software. That's really never my goal. This is really educational. The goal is to show you, what operational challenges ERP can solve. So whatever ERP system you do choose or decide to review, right, you will have a good and high level of confidence that that system is going to be able to solve your challenges that you have day to day, and how you could grow as a business. Okay. So starting the slide here from on this particular aspect of it, ERP as a cornerstone for modern manufacturing. What does ERP actually give manufacturers? It's just not an accounting tool. It's just not an inventory tool. It's just not a tool that you put in orders, right? ERP gives manufacturers a 360 view of your business at the end of the day. It helps you by uncovering any type of systemic issues you have in your organization. Could be planning, could be stocking, could be shipping, could be costing, right? Timing of any such tasks that happen day to day. It starts bubbling up these specific issues to the surface, so you know exactly what they are and how you want to solve them, right? When you're in disparate systems, you're kind of having to go through different departments to get the right reports and kind of bring those and piecemeal those reports together like a puzzle, and then come up with some analytics around, okay, this is what our issue is and how do we resolve it now, right? Instead of an ERP system in a connected system inside a manufacturing facility, it will give you that information quickly so you could act on it fast, right? So it helps you by understanding your processes and your challenges. In addition, right, it's always great to map your workflows and understand what best practices are for your businesses. In my experience, even let's say we had a manufacturer that manufactured the same thing. Let's say they did extrusions, right? Both of these manufacturers had slightly different business processes. And that was core to their business for their success. Could be people, could be systems, right? Could be their work centers or machines. But both of the businesses were different, even though they sold the same product. Now, what made them successful at the end of the day, right? Obviously, the tribal knowledge and things that they do internally, but finding the right ERP system for them to run their business. So what they had a chance to do is map out their processes. And once you map out your processes, you understand what success means to you, where your success matrix are in your business. So you find the right solution to go ahead and implement so you stay successful in your industry, right? An ERP itself is out of the box, but there are, it's a big enough software that you need to kind of have somebody guide you at the end of the day to help you understand how to set up the system, right? So having a good consultant, not only from the partner side, but also from the customer side, having a dedicated project manager and making sure that project manager knows your business is an important task to make sure ERP is successful in your business. The system, any good ERP system at the end of the day, right, needs to feel intuitive and needs to reduce manual workload. And what does that mean? I always tell our customers that the best implemented systems are the ones that are invisible to your process. So you're organically adding data, organically scanning Traveler, your operation steps, organically scrapping material potentially. You're organically maybe restocking inventory out of a production order because you're not using it, right? You're doing this day to day, but the system is there kind of invisible to the process where it happens as you're doing it. It doesn't become a chore. So when it doesn't become a chore, right, you get better data in the system, more real-time data in the system, and you could take those decisions and make better business judgments on how you could reduce cost, get better vendors, right? Maybe have some better stocking rules around your warehouse, things like this. So you could continually, become efficient in what you're doing. The other side of this is if you use QuickBooks or if you use, let's say, just an inventory control system, right? If you use just a order management OMS system, and they're all three different systems, you're doing, let's say, a restocking in the inventory system. Well, maybe that does not hit your QuickBooks system for maybe 2 days, right? Or there's a long delay until you figure out, well, how much did we restock out of a production or why did we restock it, right? Now you're behind the ball and you're constantly trying to play catch up with everything else that's happening in your business in order for you to kind of pivot really fast and make decisions on the shop floor. So some of the key ERP functions that matter most to manufacturing, and I've been kind of spilling on some of them as we're going through our webinar. Financial management, all right? And the finance folks in our webinar today probably appreciate the ability to automate a month-end close. So think of that for a second. You're a CFO, you're an accounting manager, and in order for you to close your books, to close inventory, to make sure no one is trying to post in a previous period, to change your cost of goods sold numbers, right? You need to close out QuickBooks. You need to close out your inventory control system, which is another one. You need to close out maybe your OMS system. You have to get all the shipping done. You have to close out your shipping TMS solution potentially. You have to make sure all these things are done separately before you could actually get your financials ready to close out that month. Now your month-end close is really maybe a 2-week close, right? In that next month. And then by the time you finish that month-end close, you're starting the month-end close for the next month. So you're just constantly playing catch up. So for financial management, having an integrated ERP system that you could control the transactions that are happening, really quickly close your month, close inventory periods so no one could go and adjust inventory in a previous period, right, is crucial to the success for financial management. To have a clean set of books on your side. That leads to accurate job costing, accurate landed cost tracking, right? We all know what's happening in this economic environment right now with tariffs and all these other additional costs that are coming into play. But what is that doing to your margin? What is that doing to, your prices? Have you updated prices because of additional tariffs or additional, costs coming in? Maybe you can't because you don't have the visibility of how to allocate your tariff charges or your freight charges back to your receipts, to your purchase orders. So you're kind of flying in the blind and really don't know if your margins are accurate. Maybe you know that only after the fact when you close your month end out. These are all real cases, and it's a real problem for manufacturers right now. Because the environment is so fluid, you need to have these numbers and this information kind of at your fingertips. You need to be able to potentially update pricing increase pricing by 10% just to keep up with tariff costs on one side, right? To maintain your margin. Things like this, right, are really, really necessary and they're cornerstones for an ERP system. Getting real-time P&L information. Then further breaking that P&L down by product types, by customer types, by regions, and really dissecting your business at the end of the day without having to wait for you to somebody else to log into an Excel file and them running the reports off an Excel file and giving you the data back. It's all in the system. It's all real time. And by the way, fun fact, 80% of Excel spreadsheets has some sort of calculation error. So if you're out there and you've inherited an Excel spreadsheet for inventory control or for some reason or another, the stat is 80% of these spreadsheets that get handed down will have some sort of Excel formula error. So you're actually working with incorrect data and making decisions on incorrect data. What else does ERP help with from a cornerstone perspective? Regulatory compliance. Think of having full lot and serial control tracking in your ERP. So if a customer calls in because they have an issue with the device you sold to them, and they've given the CSR rep the serial number, well, the CSR rep could really easily track everything into that serial number. Which production order, which shipment, which packing slip it got assigned to, what production order, output of that inventory, what raw materials went into that production order, and then possibly even go back to the vendor and question some of the raw material that you received in to that created and manufactured this defective item that went to the customer. What that's called is called item tracing capabilities in your ERP. Now, I've seen a lot of companies do this in Excel. And you could imagine with lot and serial numbers, this Excel file could become massive. And I have an interesting story here. One of our customers that uses Excel file for such a long time inadvertently deleted that file. And once you delete that file, luckily they're able to get it back, but they're only able to get back a previous version of that file, not the most updated copy of it. So you have to be very careful with Excel spreadsheets because if something happens funny with that file, you lose that data. The only place the best choice for you to go back to is a version that it got saved to in previously. Quality control and traceability, like I talked about, electronic audit trails, important for compliance, documenting your workflow, right? Full auditability in your ERP, which helps you stay current, is honest in what they're doing in the system. You could see really easily if there was, let's say, a price change on a sales order. Well, who changed it, when they changed it, what they changed it from, and what is the new value that they changed it to. So these are all auditable tools inside an ERP system that gives you this feedback to stay on top of any issues that you need to address with your user base. Then you have operational efficiency. This goes without saying. You have master planning, production scheduling. And production scheduling is important because that will help you stay maybe more just in time. Right now, potentially, you might be carrying more inventory than you need because you're just so afraid that you're not ordering on time, or that you're just so afraid you don't have capabilities internally to order in lot sizes, right? You can't aggregate your demand correctly. So doing this in an ERP system gives you that demand visibility of how much demand you have out there. Well, then also look at your supply, meaning how much you have on hand, what are your lead times, what are your optimal ordering quantities, things like this. What time frames do you want to order within? So then the system will suggest to you a quantity to order without you kind of having a gut feel. Real-time shop floor visibility. Where are our production orders right now? What operation step are these production orders stuck in? Is this routing in process for this particular production order? Right? You have that scanning capability. You're scanning on and off on your traveler. You could see where these travelers are real time in an ERP system. Automated replenishments, min maxes, reorder points. These are important concepts. And maybe you house these information in an Excel spreadsheet right now. Maybe it's all tribal knowledge. Well, if that is, all right, we kind of have to start thinking about, well, what if this happens? How do I make sure I can still order correctly? Integrated sales, purchasing, and operations. Once you've integrated these modules together in an ERP system, makes it really easy to do your planning. We've talked a little bit about this, but we'll kind of expand on it. Why manufacturers struggle without an ERP system. Some of the common pain points across small, mid-sized manufacturers. Too many spreadsheets and manual reconciliations. We see this all the time, all the time. Fragmented systems with no single source of truth. Your inventory control may have an item number a specific way. And then your sales order team may have that same product maybe in a different item number, right? And then you may have purchasing ordering that same item off of the vendor item number. So you don't have a single point of truth. You don't have, one what we call parent system that controls the data. So then that's used to look at how you're doing as a business, right? Production planning is based off gut feel instead of real-time data. See this all the time. Inconsistent costing or inaccurate inventory because systems don't talk to each other. This one is another one where we see inventory moving day to day on the production floor, but we don't see the inventory financial results affect the financials until maybe a week later, until maybe we get the vendor invoice in, right? Maybe not until we get some sort of document from the shop floor saying that these are the materials that we've consumed, or these are our receipts from our different purchase orders. So now you have this delay of not only inventory quantities, but maybe also financials, because you won't know how much you have in inventory. Limited visibility for finance, operations, and sales. These challenges impact businesses a lot. And we see this with delayed financial closes. Stockouts happen all the time, right? You're carrying excess inventory. Your inventory turns ends up being 1 or 2 per year instead of 6 per year. Because, right, the faster you're able to turn inventory, that means you're ordering in optimal quantities instead of buying a ton of inventory and it just sits there and you don't turn that over. Missed delivery dates and unhappy customers. Rising operational costs. It's taking people to do the same task 2 or 3 times more without an ERP system. Maybe there's massive confusion on where product goes when you receive a PO. No one really knows where it goes, so someone starts putting it in one place, then that person takes it and puts it in the correct place, right? Now you're just kind of wasting cost there. Compliance risks that could have been avoided. Leadership forced to make decisions without clear data. That one probably scares me the most, is that you're trying to get a loan from the bank, but you don't know, your true collateral of AR, your inventory you don't know. Or worse, you get audited and you're reporting one number, but when they do the physical count, you're reporting a completely different number. Right? That could end up being in penalties and fees from your bank or the IRS, right? Or whoever you get loans from. Or a reduction in your line of credit. Like that. Specific impact ERP has on manufacturers. Strengthens your financial confidence, right? You get accurate numbers every single day, not just once a month. You see your cost variances immediately. And what do I mean by that? Is let's say you create a purchase order for a product and that's $10 a piece. You receive it in, system books an entry for $10 a piece of that inventory. But then the invoice comes in and the invoice comes in at $15. So now you see a purchase price variance, right? That comes in. You quickly make a decision here, call the vendor, see what happened, why is there an additional cost, how you can reduce the cost for future settings. But that all happens when you have an integrated system. When the back office talks to the front office and the data is reconcilable immediately and real time. Leadership gets the visibility needed to make strategic decisions, right? ERP supports the compliance and audits of things. If a recall happens, how do you trace it back? Required documentation is traced back. Audits become faster and less disruptive. Furthermore, if you did warranty claims or anything like that, you could add warranty dates and times and things like that and manage warranties within an ERP system. ERP improves operational flow, as we've kind of been talking about here. Production planner makes adjustments based on real-time data. Let's say an order had come in earlier today for 100 pieces of a widget, but within the time the order came in and planning running their planning models, the customer called and said, hey, we only need 80. So when planning runs their process, the system tells them that they have to only order 80, not 100, because it's real time. Any changes that happen real time on the demand, whether it's quantity or due dates, will impact the planning process. Right? So you're able to become more proactive instead of reactive. And that's really the key to success for any manufacturer. Sales gets accurate promise dates. Inventory turns improve. If there's changes in supply chain, they're visible. A really good story I have on that is COVID. Our customers that had implemented an ERP system were able to maneuver the COVID situation because they were able to keep track of due dates and communicate back to their customers on when the impact will be for a revised delivery date on their orders. Now, they couldn't control when the product was going to come in because it was just sitting out in ships out on the ocean, but they're able to at least manage and maintain the data and reach out to customers and letting them know the situation pretty quickly. So the more you have information and data in one system, the more reliable you're going to look and seem with your customers and on top of what's happening in your economic environment. So what makes modern ERP different, right? So modern ERP, kind of like a Business Central or an Acumatica, but it gives manufacturers. Everything is subscription based. So it's all hosted on the cloud. So because of that, you get lower upfront cost. What does that mean? Lower upfront cost means that you don't pay for the software upfront. You don't have to pay for a server. You don't have to pay for the maintenance of that server. Things like that, right? It's basically a software solution deployed on the cloud for you automatically. So you kind of skip that whole software purchase fee. You pay a subscription for the software, but you move quicker into your implementation because the software is just deployed on the cloud and you move right into your implementation of your ERP system. These publishers, these software vendors nowadays, they provide automatic updates to keep you compliant and keep you with the latest and greatest functionality in the ERP. So these publishers are spending billions of dollars on new functionality every single year. And those are changes from architecture, database structure, all the way to functionality, financial reports, up to that level. So the benefit you get with that is twice a year, mostly it's in April and in October, you'll get free upgrades. So you get access to that new functionality as part of your subscription cost with the publisher. Mobility options, so you get the ability to have remote devices, like a handheld device for warehouse, shop floor type of solutions. You could have an app on your phone to add your expenses, travel and expenses, potentially. You have an app on your phone to look at dashboards and KPIs that you need to see. Acumatica, for example, allows you to talk to your Alexa to run reports. You could say, hey, Alexa, what's our open AR balance as of right now? And you'll go and log into your Acumatica instance and tell you what your open AR balance is. More and more, we're seeing an uptake of integrations into an ERP. Integrations with CRM, e-commerce, other shop floor automations, which is becoming very common. And the reason for that is the ease to integrate into a modern ERP system. We, on a daily basis, integrate to Shopify. Customers have Shopify, which is a very common platform, e-commerce platform. We've also integrated to WooCommerce. We integrate to custom websites, PQM systems, CPQ systems, right? Configure, price, quote systems. There's also integration to like HubSpot, dynamic CRM sales to your ERP. There's also plugins for Outlook, AI, Copilot, right? Think of these new technologies of being boosters to your productivity on a day-to-day basis. On an AI example, there's ability in Microsoft Dynamics Business Central that the AI agent, what we call a sales agent, is basically monitoring a centralized sales inbox. So as soon as a sales order comes in, that sales agent grabs the order, dissects the data, and automatically creates your sales order for you without having anyone that needs to intervene and look at the email and put in the details manually for that order. That technology, that AI agent, that AI functionality is getting more and more. You're going to see that all across your ERP, from sales agents to purchasing agents to inventory agents, to help you make decisions faster with the data that you're getting into your ERP system. So how do we work with manufacturers? Our implementation approach is quite straightforward. We start by understanding your processes and your challenges. We map your workflows. We assign dedicated consultants from beginning to end. We provide in-house support long after you go live to give you best practices of what other manufacturers in your same space might be doing that you could benefit from. Build systems that help you feel intuitive and reduce manual work. We've done this for across over 20 years in supply chain and various different industries. Proven results across production, distribution, and e-commerce. And here is where I think we really shine, is we focus on people, process, and clarity, not just software. We feel that we're a people-based business first, and we help people understand how we could help them in their jobs and make them more productive to help their employers at the end of the day. And we just happen to know ERP software really, really well. So for closing, I hope everybody today was able to kind of understand the importance of what a modern day ERP system could bring to the table for your business. If you don't have one now, something to start maybe thinking about. The prices and subscription for these products are very, very low. but they have a lot of upside. And the way it could connect your business, it could connect your people, and foster this collaboration of communication and constant process improvement in your business, instead of everybody working in their own silos or in their own systems. ERP is going to be the backbone that supports your growth, compliancy, and efficiency. We'll be happy to continue the conversation with anyone reviewing this webinar. We're offering a free ERP analysis workshop for members of the Tri-State Manufacturing Organization. And if you get a chance, please look at my YouTube channel, The ABCs of ERP and Beyond, for deeper insights into ERP and how ERP could benefit your business. Any questions? Any thing that I could help answer from anybody in the audience?
Yeah, I have a question. For the ERP analysis workshop, the free one, is that available to any of our MMA affiliates? Not
Yes,
just
that's correct.
Tri-State? Okay.
Any affiliate, that's correct. Yes.
Perfect. All right.
Yes. One question I do ask often is from an ERP, what is a rough timeline on an implementation for a manufacturer? I would say, obviously, it depends on size, but usually you could kind of think between 4 to 6 months. A manufacturer has a little bit more involved than a distributor would. A manufacturer, we have to bring in your work in process inventory and production. We have to put in your production orders. We have to teach you how BOMs and routings work. You may have nested bill of materials. You may do make to order versus make to stock. There's a little bit more involved there, but usually between 4 to 6 months from beginning to end to implement an ERP system properly. Well, that's all I have for this webinar today, and I'm happy to continue the conversation on a later date with everybody.
All right. Well, I will send the recording of this webinar out to all of our folks that registered, and it will also be on the YouTube channel. And I wanted to thank you for your time and all this great information. And also, I'd like to thank our webinar sponsor, Central McGowan, for sponsoring this event. Otherwise, I think we are ready to wrap it up. Anything else?
No, I think that's it for
All
today.
right. Well, thanks so much. And watch your email for the recording. And like I said, I'll put in the podcast link as well.
Excellent.
All right. Thanks. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.